first heard candidate Marco Rubio speak in the late fall of 2009 at an event here in Tampa. And I was so impressed by his conservatism, his optimism, and his message that America is exceptional and we must remain so. I became an ardent supporter that evening and worked to do my best in 2010 to get him elected. I trusted that he would do the right thing and stand up to Washington's status quo establishment of either party that has created such a mess over the last decades. I understand, I empathized, and I truly believed that Senator Rubio had the best of intentions when he decided to get out in front of and take on the immigration issue. However, today, June 2013, we are in a very different political climate than we were even in after last November's election. We are in the political climate of distrust. Distrust of government and our elected representatives is at its highest. That is not a good sign for any nation. Trust has broken down due to too many broken promises. Look at previous huge comprehensive bills passed, whether it's stimulus, farm bill, Dodd-Frank, Sarbanes-Oxley, Patriot Act, of course Obamacare, and of course the promises of the 1986 amnesty bill and the promise that they would build a fence in 2006. And distrust has risen as a result of the recent scandals and government officials of this administration lying to Americans. Do we want to trust this administration to faithfully enforce a bill to the best interest of all Americans with a bill that few have read? Americans are fatigued with 1,000-plus page bills that are rushed through a process that lacks transparency and consists of backroom deals and buy-offs. Very few senators and Americans have had the time to fully read and digest the Court Verhoeven 1,200-page amendment that was voted on this week. All senators, all of them, whether they support this bill or not, should be, at the very least, know exactly what they are voting on. And all Americans also deserve the time to read and digest this bill as well.
Exactly.
The senators are not voting on 5 broad talking points, but a huge, complex bill. The devil is in the details. And now I understand this bill includes pork, payoffs to special interest, conflicting statements, and will increase unemployment and decrease wages. But worst of all, I don't believe this bill resolves the issue of illegals. Trust is earned, and when it's lost, it can be very back. I believed Senator Rubio in 2010 when he said, quote, "We've got to secure the borders in our existing system first before we can even begin to have a conversation about the other elements of immigration." And he also said, quote, "Earned path to citizenship is basically code for amnesty." Most Americans, I believe, are appalled and find it unacceptable that 12 years after 9/11, we still have not secured our borders. If Senators Schumer, Durbin, and Reid were serious about securing our borders, they would not have stopped building the fence, and they would help pass a border security bill separate from the immigration issue. I do not believe that the face of the future Republican Party is Senators McCain and Graham. But I do believe that this issue is splitting the Republican Party and could cause irreparable damage if the conservative base pulls away. Senator Rubio has a great, appealing message that can win hearts and minds of many Americans, or all Americans. I believe he can be a champion for conservative principles without pandering to any segment or ethnicity. Remember, when government gives something to one group, they must take something from someone else. So I asked Senator Rubio to please reconsider his position and walk away from the Gang of Eight bill. We need to secure our borders first, and then we can address immigration in a transparent, piece-by-piece manner. I am praying, and I think many Americans are as well, that he will do the right thing and he will walk away from this bill and secure our borders first. Thank you.
Entertain questions.
Kill the bill.
There you go. Yes.
Again, I'd like to just ask you or Sharon or Barbara, any of you, to comment on what this, how this issue affects the possibility of a president.
I'm going to speak for me. Mr. March, thank you for the question, and for those who didn't hear the question, how does this affect Senator Rubio's potential for running? I guess you're asking from our perspective for him running for president. I said before, Senator Rubio and our principles and values line up on many, many things. But this is a pivotal issue. This has specifically to do with the enforcement of law. There are laws on the books. One of the other myths that exist, and Senator Rubio said it in his interview, he said, if we do nothing, he says, this will remain in place if we do nothing. And that's not true. Because if we would enforce the law, if we would secure the border, if we would abide by the existing law, we would have continued to build the fence, and the problem would be greatly mitigated. So, having said that, I'll address your question. We believe that Senator Rubio, we hope that Senator Rubio is going to do the right thing. He has said many times that if the bill doesn't meet certain requirements, that he will walk away. We believe that by speaking out and speaking forcefully, that he'll see that this is a very, very flawed piece of legislation. We can address this issue, as Sharon pointed out, again, and we can do it in a step-by-step process. So, our hope is that because Senator Rubio has agreement with us on so many other things, that he'll be able to enjoy our support if and when he runs for the presidential nomination in the future.
But if he doesn't, if he votes for the bill, what does that mean for you?
Well, when that happens, ask me that question again.
And William, I'd like to just also say that, speaking from the Pinellas side of the Bay, and I think this is true across the state of Florida, is that the Tea Party were the boots on the ground. We were the people who went out and knocked on the doors and held the fundraisers and did the telephone work, and we were the army that helped him to get elected and to beat all odds.
And to beat the establishment.
And coming from about 40% difference between him and Governor Chris at that point, and to come to where he won, that was a Tea Party win. And so if he loses this base, which he's on the edge here, we're trying to pull him back. We are trying to pull him back. So I think it's about, and I was in his office in Washington, D.C. a week ago today. I was in this office 2 days ago. We are trying our best to reach out our hand and to pull him back from the edge.
And I agree with that, and I do believe that it could impact him in the future if he doesn't walk away. And I think what we've pointed out here, it's flawed legislation, and basically Americans are tired of flawed legislation because the end result is a disaster. If anybody watched the floor of the Senate yesterday and watched Ted Cruz's present the tie of Obamacare with this bill, it's devastating.
Yes.
We are still in an economy that's uncertain. We still have high employment. So we are hoping that all the flaws of this bill, that Senator Rubio will understand that, and he will say, you know what, we need to step back. Let's step back and we can start over. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, where does this fictitious number of 11 million come from? Where the sun don't shine?
Right. Well,
I get a feeling it's 25 to 30 million.
the number's nebulous, but it doesn't matter whether it's
How are
3
they
or 30.
proving that number?
Yeah.
Where is the proof of that number?
Right. It's a good question. Thank you all so much for being here today. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.